Are we winning or losing the battle with Scientology and their abuses? Hi, everybody. Today we're tackling an important question. Are we winning or losing the battle against Scientology and their abuses? With their vast resources and aggressive tactics, it can feel like an uphill battle. But smaller activists can win against this organization. Although they're small in number, Scientology does have enormous financial resources, and we need to make sure that we stick to strategies that not only survive but thrive. And what we need to do is basically play to their weaknesses, not their strengths. First of all, where does Scientology stand today? Their membership is shrinking, public trust is eroding, and they're facing mounting lawsuits and media scrutiny. But let's not underestimate them. They still have billions of dollars and dedicated lawyers and a relentless PR machine. Their infrastructure is cracking, but they're not done yet. So we need to just understand their strengths and weaknesses in order to take them on. Scientology tends to be strong in the legal arena, not so much that they win cases, because mostly they don't win. But they have the money and the highly paid lawyers to continue slugging it out in court. And they slug it out in court long enough to wear down the opposition. Some cases where ex-Scientologists have sued Scientology, they've gone on for years. And Scientology does this they stretch things out in order to discourage others from making the attempt to sue Scientology, because it just makes it look so daunting that in the end, a lot of times people that would possibly sue don't, just because they know that they're going to go up against it could be a decade-long battle with Scientology. And that is the way Scientology works. Is their whole purpose is to intimidate the enemy long enough so that others just won't even take up the mantle. The other way that Scientology uses legal to curtail their attacks is with their whole arbitration angle. Anyone now signing up for services in Scientology or for staff, they have to sign away their rights to any legal right to sue. And they force them to go into their what they call religious arbitration, which is really, it's just a kangaroo court made up of Scientologists who are in good standing. And a Scientologist in good standing going against somebody who is suing Scientology, somebody suing Scientology is considered in Scientology a suppressive person. So a Scientologist in good standing, they can basically, according to Hubbard policy, can do anything bad to that suppressive person. So there's just it's a no-win in going to arbitration with Scientology. So, so what are some of their weaknesses? Their main weakness is their fear of being exposed. Scientology is full of abuses and crimes within their organization and their members, and most of those abusive actions are dictated by policies written by Hubbard. That's their scripture, and it can't be changed. If it's written in policy, Scientology has to follow that. They can't change it. Even if those policies are written 40, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, they still have to follow them. So, and a lot of most of those abuses are written in Hubbard policy, and that's what they follow. So the best weapon against Scientology is exposing them. This is the truth. Truth is our best weapon. So what some of the challenges for smaller activists? If you've ever spoken out against Scientology, then you'll know how they retaliate. There's harassment, stalking, legal threats, and they just try to intimidate and silence their critics. But the truth is, those tactics are designed to scare, and because they fear exposure. So, it's just a matter of continuing. And, as rough as it sometimes may seem, they're just trying to scare with those tactics of intimidation. I used to get really nervous about when we first got out of Scientology and started criticizing, are we being followed, or are they going through our trash? And after a while I go, I don't care if they follow me to the supermarket or if they go through my trash. There's nothing in there that's important. So, you know, just a lot of the fear kind of dropped off. You know, even if they sue, they don't usually win. And, you know, even some of those, the recent, you know, legal stuff they did with some of the live streamers and the protesters in Los Angeles, where they had restraining orders on them. Scientology lost all of them. It took a little bit of time to do it, but long term, this is it's a long term battle. It's a battle of attrition. This thing, it's not going to be won overnight. So, so really, the best way to hit them is where it hurts, exposing their secrets. We focus on their financial abuses, labor violations, stories of survivors. You know, platforms like YouTube, social media. You know, it gives voice to those who, you know, for no cost. You know, someone like me, a little guy out on the fringe of the internet here, can put out a message like that. So, and then you have journalists, you know, people like Tony Ortega, who write and expose Scientology and have done for a long time, for over a decade. Right now, public opinion is definitely turning against Scientology more and more, and that means less and less people are recruited into the cult. On the street protesting, what they've done basically is, like if you look in LA, it started there, but it's gone pretty much worldwide, and it limits Scientology recruiting on the street, where they have what they call body routing, where they'll go out, try to bring people into their local organizations. A lot of that, most of that, has been shut down. So their recruiting on the street is very, very limited at this point. The other thing that has been happening is between calls and emails to various organizations, has limited front groups like the Drug Free World, from you know, where they've utilized sometimes their allies, I guess, they're stated allies with certain organizations like police forces and whatnot. That's being curtailed at this point with various calls. You know, PTS for Life and you know, a group of Canadians have been working, you know, on that quite a bit, and it's been very successful in limiting the front groups' ability, you know, limiting their online presence, basically, and they're pulling back. So they are shrinking in that way. The other thing is people like Alex in the UK, where he's contacting government entities, and that limits Scientology safe pointing, which is where they ally with certain government or police individuals, or what they call opinion leaders in society. And what he's been doing out there and exposing Scientology is it limits Scientology's ability to get out there and safe point. So if you're out doing any kind of activism against Scientology, just, you know, you should try to document, just to protect yourself, you know, just like as a defensive strategy, just kind of document, you know some of your legal rights, stay within the law for what you're doing. If you're in a higher risk position and you need to stay anonymous online, try to do so. Scientology is very clever at kind of digging out identities, but the other thing too is there's strength in numbers. So the more activists, the more people that are out there doing this, the more people exposing Scientology abuses, the better. And we are turning the tide for sure. So, you know, success is not always about the big victories. Every closed Scientology building, every exposed abuse, every survivor that speaks out, it's a win. Remember, it's a long game, and the progress is happening bit by bit, but every effort contributes to dismantling Scientology's facade. You know, even now, even if it feels slow, your voice matters, because it's a group effort, as we build our little activist. I don't like to use the word army, but Anyway, so the bottom line, overall, Scientology numbers have been on a steady decline over the past number of decades. Estimates as far as Scientology members are, I've heard as low as 20,000 members or less. It's hard to tell exactly because they're so closeted in their information, but definitely not in numbers. They're not strong. Just in finances, as we were saying, and in having a number of lawyers, they've got quite a bit of that. And then also their ability to recruit new members is very limited because of all the activism and the articles and the exposing of abuses in Scientology. Public opinion is just the wave has gone against Scientology, and it makes it way more difficult for them to recruit new members. And it's all out on the internet. So the internet is a huge weakness for Scientology. And then if you take into account attrition, if they've got 20,000 members and they can't recruit new members or very few new members, they're going to continue to shrink. So, we just keep up what we're doing. And eventually there will come a time where it's going to be difficult for Scientology to man up those buildings. Because what have they got right now? They've got a big bank account and they've got lots of fancy buildings. But in order to have those fancy buildings open, they need to have people to run them. And, we've seen in lots of the videos that are done by people that are on the street there and watching events that go on, online images that come out from some of these events, that definitely the numbers are shrinking in those areas. And there's going to be a point where there's going to be a building here, a building there, that they're not going to be able to man up. And they can only shuffle personnel around so long. If they send out some of their Sea Org members to man up an organization, like they send out Sea Org members to Kansas City Org to help man that up, and eventually they're just going to run short of personnel. That's just the way it's going to be. So I think in the next couple of years we should start to see some of these buildings close up, just because there aren't any members to run them, or Scientology is going to start to get really thinned out as far as number of members if they have to send people out to keep these buildings running. Ideally, it'd be nice if government or law enforcement stepped in and did take some action, but so far they haven't seemed to be interested in doing so at all. But we can still win without them. That's what we're doing. With everybody participating, we can win against Scientology abuses. We are winning, and I want to thank all of you who have supported this endeavor, whether it's just moral support or out there on the street or speaking out or writing, making videos, whatever you're doing, it is helping to end the abuses of this dangerous cult. Anyway, that's my short little blurb on are we winning or not. We are winning. They are shrinking. So, let's keep it up. And I want to thank you so much for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let me know in the comments if you think there are any other good strategies that we might use for taking on Scientology. And see you next time.